The gods of Greek mythology, extremely powerful beings, capable of great love, but also great cruelty. Those who dared to anger them suffered punishment so severe that they would drive anyone mad. From Prometheus to Sisyphus, get ready to learn about the most terrifying stories and the most ruthless punishments of ancient Greece. We begin with Prometheus, the titan who stole the divine fire to give it to humanity. In the early days, Prometheus gave humans fire, the greatest tool they could have for survival. Zeus did not take this kindly, so he gave Prometheus an eternal punishment. Prometheus was chained to a rock where an eagle devoured his liver every day, which regenerated every night. Prometheus would have remained chained if it hadn't been for Hercules, who broke his chains and freed him. But the punishment wasn't only for Prometheus. Zeus also punished humanity. Zeus ordered Hephaestus, the god of the forge, to create a woman out of clay, whom the gods endowed with gifts. Athena gave her wisdom, Aphrodite gave her beauty, Hermes gave her the ability to lie, and Apollo gave her music. Thus, Pandora was born, whose name means the one who possesses all gifts. Zeus gave Pandora a box, with the warning not to open it under any circumstances. He then sent her to Earth as a wife for Epimetheus, Prometheus's brother. Despite the warnings, Pandora's curiosity grew. Unable to resist, she finally opened the box, releasing all the evils of the world: diseases, sadness, hunger, poverty, and many other misfortunes. Frightened, Pandora quickly closed the box, leaving only one thing inside: hope. The evils spread across the world, affecting all of humanity. However, hope remained in the box, offering comfort in the face of adversity. The next punishment may have been deserved. Tantalus was the king of Lydia, one of the few mortals who had the honor of dining with the gods on Olympus. Despite his divine favors, Tantalus committed 3 great offenses that enraged the gods. During one of his banquets on Olympus, Tantalus stole nectar and ambrosia, the food of the gods, and gave them to mortals, breaking divine trust. Tantalus also revealed divine secrets he had overheard during his banquets with the gods, showing a grave disregard for the trust that had been bestowed upon him. Tantalus's most atrocious crime was when he invited the gods to a banquet and, to test their omniscience, took the life of his own son, Pelops, and served him as food. The gods, horrified and offended by this act of impiousness and brutality, not only rejected the meal, but also resurrected Pelops, bringing him back to life. As punishment for his crimes, the gods condemned Tantalus to suffer eternally in Tartarus. He was placed in a lake of crystal-clear water under a tree laden with fruit. However, each time he tried to drink, the water would recede, and whenever he tried to reach for the fruit, the branches would pull away. This perpetual torment of eternal hunger and thirst symbolizes divine retribution for his arrogance and cruelty. Another arrogant figure was Sisyphus, who deceived Thanatos. Sisyphus chained Thanatos, making it so that no one could die while he remained bound. Once in the underworld, he tricked mighty Hades into letting him return to the human world to resolve unfinished business, which was merely a ploy to avoid returning to the underworld. He was eventually brought back to the underworld with an exemplary punishment. Each day, he had to push a large rock uphill, and by sunset, he would watch the rock roll back down the hill, forcing him to start over again. This would be his eternal punishment, an exhausting and futile task. Atlas was another punished figure, the Titan who led the war against the Olympian gods. As punishment for his role in the Titanomachy, Zeus condemned Atlas to a particularly cruel fate: to carry the sky on his shoulders for all eternity. According to some versions, Atlas was placed at the western edge of the world, on the confines of the ocean, where he was tasked with this arduous duty to prevent the sky from collapsing onto the earth. When Hercules reached Atlas, he asked for his help to retrieve the apples of the Hesperides. Atlas, seeing an opportunity to temporarily free himself from his burden, agreed and asked Hercules to hold up the sky while he went for the apples. Atlas returned with the apples, but tried to leave Hercules with the burden of holding the sky. However, Hercules, clever as always, asked Atlas to hold the sky for a moment while he adjusted his cloak. Atlas agreed, and Hercules swiftly took the apples and left, leaving Atlas once again with his eternal punishment. Women also suffered the wrath of the gods, as in the case of Niobe. Niobe was the daughter of Tantalus and the wife of Amphion, king of Thebes. She was known for her great beauty and nobility, and she became the mother of 14 children, 7 sons and 7 daughters. This fact filled her with pride, so much so that she came to scorn the goddess Leto, who had only 2 children, Apollo and Artemis. In an act of arrogance, Niobe boasted of her superiority over Leto, proclaiming that she was more worthy of worship for having more children. This blasphemy and lack of respect enraged Leto, who decided to punish Niobe for her insolence. Leto sent her children, Apollo and Artemis, to punish Niobe. Apollo, with his bow and arrows, took the lives of Niobe's sons, while Artemis did the same to her daughters. In a matter of minutes, Niobe lost nearly all her children. Devastated by grief and remorse, Niobe fled to her homeland of Lydia. There, consumed by profound sorrow, she was transformed into a rock by the gods. However, even in her petrified form, it was said that Niobe continued to weep, and her tears formed an eternal spring. The next punishment was for Ixion. In mythology, he was a king who killed his father-in-law by throwing him into a pit of burning coals. He asked Zeus for forgiveness, and Zeus, in pity for Ixion, brought him to Olympus, allowing him to dine at the table of the gods. Instead of being grateful, Ixion lusted after Hera, Zeus's wife, which was an additional violation of the rules of hospitality. Zeus discovered his intentions and created a cloud in Hera's form, deceiving Ixion with it. Ixion was expelled from Olympus and struck by lightning. Zeus ordered Hermes to bind Ixion to a fiery wheel that would spin endlessly. Thus, Ixion is bound to the burning wheel for all eternity. Only when Orpheus played his lyre during his journey to the underworld to rescue Eurydice did it stop temporarily. Next, we have the punishment of Alectryon, the faithful servant of the god Ares. Aphrodite and Ares had a secret romance, and every night, while Hephaestus worked in his forge, the lovers would meet. Alectryon's task was to warn Ares of the sunrise, as this marked Hephaestus's return. One night, Alectryon fell asleep. Thus, Ares and Aphrodite were discovered in bed together. Ares' revenge on Alectryon was brutal. He turned him into a rooster, forever fated to crow at the break of dawn. If you've seen a rooster, perhaps it's Alectryon fulfilling his divine punishment. Lastly, the punishment of Medusa, one of the most beautiful women of antiquity. In some versions, Medusa was a victim of Poseidon in the temple of Athena. Athena, enraged by this transgression, transformed Medusa into a creature with snakes for hair, ensuring that no one could ever look upon her, as her gaze would turn any being to stone. Which punishment do you think was the most fitting? Leave a comment with your thoughts on the gods' punishments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next epic adventure.